Good evening, everyone. Dr. Liz, how are you? Can you hear
Good.
me?
Yes, Shavuot Tov, Rav. How are you?
Baruch Hashem, Shavua Tov
Shavuot
Umvorach. How
Tov.
are you all?
Baruch Hashem, Rav. Just if I can give a bit of an update, I'm sure you saw in the news, and it's been so incredibly depressing. Motzei Shabbos, when we opened up with the news, so we saw the terrible news of the 8 soldiers that were ambushed in a. They think it was like a. They went to They went into Rafah and they went to, they say there was a bulldozer that they came to rescue, and then Hamas went and they actually shot at their carrier and they were killed. So it was one of the highest fatalities since the beginning of the war. And then today, this morning, we heard that another 2 were killed in the northern reservists in the northern Gaza. So we've lost 10 of holy Kadosh. It's just so sad that our holy soldiers, and it pains every single person here. Everybody is in such a depressed mood. And the week before, we heard the amazing news of the release of the hostages. Now, what's amazing about that release, I'd rather focus on that because what's happened from there. It's just been incredible. There's been a BBC interview where they said why there's such high casualties, civilians, and the UN has said maybe it's we committed war crimes and crimes against humanity. So the BBC in an interview said, why don't you warn the civilians to the military? And the interviewer said, but don't you understand that our captives were held by civilians in Gaza? In fact, they were held by a journalist and a doctor in the same home. And it's just amazing. And Hamas used the civilians, Dafka, knowing that if they come to rescue them, other Palestinians would be killed. Not only that, when they took them out, they fired with RPGs and with machine guns in a civilian area. So when they say that 300 or 200, no one knows the exact figure, civilians were killed, how many of those were killed by Palestinians? They were shooting at the Israeli rescuers. It's just unbelievable. And this is the BBC. It's mamish unbelievable. Uh, it's like, who would ever believe? It's here you see, they say that the left are in mourning because we rescued 4 of our others. But Rob, I'll tell you something also unbelievable. We were in
No.
2 weeks, 2.5 weeks ago, we were in New York just on a Friday morning, going from Kennedy Airport, Jamaica Station to Manhattan, and on the underground, the subway. So we saw I don't know what type of nationality they were. They weren't white, put it that way, but it makes no difference, whatever nationality. But they were running across chasing each other in the railway carriage. And it was a little bit nerve-wracking to see this. We're all sitting there, and you have these people running up and down the underground in the train. But what happened a few days ago is really, really worrying, because there was a group of the so-called, they're not protesters and they're not pro-Palestinian or pro-anti-genocide or anti-Israel. These are mamish terrorists. After their terrible demonstration where they had at the Nova, they were showing the film and they were showing the hostages. So they protested, not only protested, they demonstrated, and they had these terrible banners and outside. Then they went to the subway station and they went onto the train. I don't know if you've seen the video. And then they say blatantly, whoever is a Zionist, put up your hand, you get off the train now. And this is in New York City. So it's really a wake-up call. It's a mamish wake-up call. We're seeing what happened, and you see the similarities. The hatred towards, it's not Zionists, it's Jews. Whoever's Jewish or who supports the land of the Jews, you're not wanted on the train. So we're seeing such similarities towards what happened before the Shoah, unfortunately. But the good news, and I always have to give you guys some good news, in Europe, a lot of the Europeans are now voting against the very, there's no words to describe them, the left governments that have like a pathological hatred towards Israel. And in Holland, Geert Wilders is going to become the new prime minister. He's very pro-Israel, and he's got an Israeli-born minister who will be in his cabinet, which is incredible. And in France, they're going to have elections. And we're looking at the right all over, like in Hungary, Orban, and in Italy. Those that are more towards the right are more pro-Israel. So the whole of the European Union, I think, is going to change because it's been a mamish like a nightmare and a disaster for us. So that's a bit of good news on the horizon. So Bezrat Hashem, we should only hear good news, and may the memories of our dear soldiers, all 10 of those very holy neshamas, may their memories be for eternal blessing.
Shukran, Dr. Les. So before I start, I never speak politics in the show, but today I want to say a few words of encouragement. And I'm going to speak about those 11 soldiers, those 11 heroes that die, and then I'm going to go to the show. And I would like to put things in perspective, just to add up to what usually Dr. Les tell us, what Dr. Les put us in. And Bezrat Hashem, I want to put it in perspective for us to understand, because this morning I've been asked by one of the students, Rabbi, what are you saying? Look what's happening. 11 people in one day. What's happening here? So Bezrat Hashem, I'll tackle that, and then we'll speak about the days after Pesach. I mean, the spiritual part of those days. What are they? Why we don't say Tahanun and etc. So Bezrat Hashem, na'aseh v'natzliach, ve'Hashem alenu berachamav yarviach. I would like to dedicate the shi'ur in the soul of Esther Kaden Bat Kitzia, Mordechai ben Rahma, תמר בת זהבה, איתן בן קרן ואבישי נאה, מלכה רג'ינה בת ג'ויה, יעקב סלומון בן פרחה, ופרחה בת סלחה. נשמתם תהיה צרורה בצור החיים. I also would like to dedicate the show of those heroes that been killed yesterday, those that been killed before, and I would like to, first of all, dedicate the show in health of Liora bat Miriam Menashe Naji ben Farha, Harav Moshe ben Bahia bat Yarav Moshe ben Devora, Harav Shlomo Yehuda ben Dalia, Harav Abraham ben Marina, Harav Devora bat Esther, Shaina Keila bat Hana, Mordechai David ben Leah, Yehuda Ilel ben Shulamit Leah, Chaim Nahum ben Pesa Reza Cohen, Baruch ben Sarah Hiena, Ahuva Kaden bat Tali Esther, לאה בת רחל, פסח יצחק בן אלה, איילה עדן בת רבקה, יהודה בן אליעזר, מאיר בן יהודה, שושנה בת פייגה איתה, אברהם בן שרה ונתן הלוי, אורי בן יעל, אריאל בן שילת, ומאיר וחנניה שלום בן אביגדור. Please God that the show gonna be in health of all of them, and the merit of all of them, that speedy recover, please God, as soon as possible. Be'ezrat Hashem. Okay, so Be'ezrat Hashem, na'aseh v'natzliach, ve'Hashem alenu berachamav yarviach. Rabotai, as you all know, we all hear the sad news yesterday that 11 of our soldiers, actually this morning, we heard about them, that 11 of our soldiers, 11 heroes, lost their life. Okay, I usually don't speak about politics and etc., but I think that we need word of encouragement, and I think that we need to spread it, and we need to understand what's happening here. We have to understand what's happening at the moment. There's a lot of public media that try to put us down, anti-Semitism, certain people in Israel, but we have to understand one important thing. I would like to give word of encouragement and strength for what's happening at the moment in Eretz Israel and what's happening in the world. We have to understand something very important. With all the loss that we lost yesterday, it was a major loss. It was one of the high loss that we lost in one day. We have to understand that we are winning the war, and we're winning it in big. Statistically, Rabotai, I'm going to speak now statistically. In this war is the we're comparing one, for every one Israeli hero that died in a war, we're talking about 120 terrorists that we killed. That means for every soldier, great soul of soldier that died in a war, the Israeli Defense Force killed 120 terrorists. If I compare it to other wars, and I'm going to bring just two statistics. If we take the 6-day war, it was 1 to 22. For every one Israeli soldier that been killed, okay, 22 enemy soldiers been killed. Yom Kippur War, it was 1 to 7. For every Israeli soldier that been killed, 7 enemy soldiers been killed. So Rabotai, we are winning the war. We're winning it big. Over 300 casualties. It's a hell of a lot for us. It's a hell of a lot for us as Jewish people, because every soul, it's a different soul. It's a great soul, but we're winning the war. It's a war that it's a very difficult war. You have to understand. It's in a civilian area. It's an urban war that we have to fight from house to house. We have a lot of the public media against us. If it's the BBC, the CNN, the Al Jazeera, name it. And they're looking at us with microscope. The United Nations, South Africa took us, as we know, to the World Court. That's with encouragement of all our, some that we call our allies, so to say allies, okay, that they're supporting them. The United Nations himself, it's part of that terrorist group that called Hamas. We have to understand that it doesn't end up there. We have to be very careful how we operating, that the terrorist doesn't lose any sleepless night over the way that they behave. They don't care about their civilian. They don't care about their own nation. They hide behind citizens, behind kids. They don't care. Here we're destroying all the underground south infrastructure that Hamas built for many years. Hamas built underground tunnels, underground piers that it was beyond understanding. It's mileage of underground that been built with money that been given to civilian, and they're using it for what? For terrorism. Not only that, that we have to destroy the infrastructure, we have to destroy the tunnels in every pier. And before we bomb it, we have to make sure that there's no bodies and there's no people that been kidnapped or hostages. So it's very difficult war, and we're winning, and we're destroying Gaza slowly but surely. With all, American try to put a lot of embargo on us, but didn't want to give us weapons. Then they changed their mind. It's all from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But the Israeli Defense Force, those heroes, doing a great job. Baruch Hashem. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu's given us one important thing in this war, that the soldier is in a higher morale that they ever had. Because there's no much right war than this one. When the enemy attacked, slaughtered, butchered, killed, I don't want to say what else they done. This is the only right war that we can do. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hashem, given a bit of seichel to our leaders, to one of two of the leaders, or three of the leaders. Some of them, they're in a government, but I don't know how good leader they are. We have to understand that HaKadosh Baruch Hu telling them to continue the war, because we don't have a choice. Because if we stop now, that organization going to start again, and who knows what's going to be the next time that they're going to attack. And we see what they can done in 7 hours, how much damage they cost. We have to continue with that war. That war, we're winning it, and we're winning it in big. It takes time, but we're destroying every infrastructure that Hamas put. We're destroying any infrastructure that was Iran involved with. We have to understand that this war is not just in the south and in the north. We're fighting 7 different battles. We're fighting with Hamas in the south. We're fighting in the north with Lebanon. We're fighting with Syria. We're fighting the Hezbollah, obviously, in Lebanon. We're fighting Iraq. We're fighting the Houthis in Yemen. We're fighting Iran. We're fighting the public media in the world. We have a war inside Israel, inside the Green Line, that we have to deal with them, that they're not going to try to cause coup like they done a few years back. So Israel in a great war, in a great danger, but Akadosh Baruch Hu with us. Akadosh Baruch Hu show us his great hand, that when Iran sent over 300 missiles, one missile hit one of the Air Force base, caused damage to construction, Baruch Hashem, no casualty. Another missile that hit the south injured a Bedouin girl, Baruch Hashem. So no casualty. We see great miracle by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We see the guardians of HaKadosh Baruch Hu every second in Eretz Israel. How many rockets been shot daily to Eretz Israel from the north, from the south? In any other country, hundreds of people will be killed. Baruch Hashem, we have to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We have to say, Hodu LaHashem ki tov ki la'olam hasdo. But Rabotai, it doesn't end here. We have to understand, Nachon, that statistically, if you look at it statistically, we're winning the war, Baruch Hashem. We're not only that winning, we're winning it in a great success. But we have to understand, we have to continue daven. We have to continue studying Torah. We have to continue saying Tehillim. We have to continue doing kindness, Gmilut Hasanin, what with each other. We have to continue to try to live in unity one with each other. Rabotai, Bnei Israel, when they was in a wilderness, they had 42 journeys. 42 journeys. From all of those 42 journeys, they have one journey that they was united. Vayachon Shama'am, the Torah said. Where did they rest together? In Mount Sinai. When they was united in Mount Sinai, we received the Holy Torah. That's Chag HaShavuot. HaKadosh Baruch Hu opened the 7th heaven. We have to work on our unity. We have to encourage each other. We have to encourage every Jew. We have to encourage every person to understand that relatively we are winning the war. We're not only that we're winning it in big. We're destroying the enemies like you can't believe. We're killing them like flies. It's not a war that we're dealing with human beings. We're dealing with threats. We're dealing with people that so cowed that they run into tunnels. It's a guerrilla war that we're dealing with, not people. They are cowed. They are, I don't know what other name to give them. Those people have no guts. They can't fight face to face. So they fight a guerrilla war. It's a very, very difficult war. We have to understand what we're dealing. Our soldiers, our heroes doing a great job. But it all depends on us. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to daven. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to do mitzvot. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to do kindness one with each other. to live in peace and harmony together. But we have to understand that this war we're winning, but we need to continue study Torah. The same like we need the soldier to fight, we need a soldier to daven Torah. Those that can't fight, those that can daven, those that can sit in yeshiva all day, sit in yeshiva and daven. That is our job. And morally, there's no better war than that we're doing. And the moral of the soldier is beyond understanding. When you see our soldier, how they singing, how they doing mitzvot, it's beyond understanding. Underneath those circumstances, in Gaza, to put the feeling, to light the menorah and Hanukkah. After that, Pesach, Shavuot, unbelievable. What else we need? That show our greatest nation. HaKadosh Baruch Hu may be doing it slowly. And I think that the reason for us, because in the Zohar HaKadosh it said, עתידים בני ישמעאל לעשות מהומות גדולות בעולם במשך 12 חודשים. What does it mean? The Zohar tells us that the children of Ishmael, the Muslim, they're going to cause havoc in the world for 12 months. So far, it's for 8 months that they're causing havoc. Anti-Semitism all over the world. War in Israel. The Houthis tried to close the sea, that no ships can go over. We have to understand very important thing, Rabotai. It all depends on us. If we going to say Tehillim, if we're going to daven for them, if we're going to do mitzvot, if we're going to learn more Torah, our heroes going to get the strength and the power. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us, and He's showing us the miracle and the great salvation. How do we do that? Studying Torah, learning more Torah, giving more shorim. Every person can take on himself a little bit more. We'll see miracle. Nachon that we lost 11. But statistically, 1 soldier to every 120, that's beyond understanding. We never have it in any other war before in Israel. Any other war, we never got to that numbers. The greatest number that we reached, it was on a 6-day war. For every Israeli soldier, 20 enemy soldiers die. In this war is 1 Israeli soldier, 1 Israeli hero to every 120 terrorists. So we have to praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we have to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we have to say every day, Hodu LaHashem ki tov ki la'olam hasdo, to say Mizmor LeTodah. When we say Mizmor LeTodah straight after Baruch She'amar, we have to have it in mind, to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Nachon that we're facing a lot of challenges, but look, the world is changing, like Dr. Les mentioned in Europe. We can see the change in the world. This Sfirat HaOmer, the first time in my life that I felt that Sfirat HaOmer gone, vanished. I don't understand. It came and it's gone. It's like I never. Every other Sfirat HaOmer, I felt like it took too long. HaKadosh Baruch Hu saying, my children, it's time, it's time. I'm not a prophet, I'm not a son of a prophet, but Rabotai, we can see the light in the end of the tunnels. It's our job to support the soldier in a better life. We can do that only when we're saying Tehillim, when we're learning Torah, when we're doing kindness one with each other in unity. If we do all of that, I promise you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will hurry up the Geulah faster than we think. I think those the first thing that I wanted to start with word of encouragement about what's happened. But many people this morning asked me, Rabbi, well, what's happening? Is it normal to lose so many people? The heart is broken. Yes, our heart is with them. Our heart is with the parents, with the widows. But we have to understand that we're winning the war. Not only physically, we're winning it on a spiritual thing. That the spiritual level of the Jewish people in Israel now is in the highest that ever was. Maybe we're not 100% united, but we're much more united than before the 7th of October. Okay, I hope that I passed the message the way that I wanted to pass it, that you all understand. Now I would like to speak about the virtue of the days after Hag HaShavuot. We all know that after Hag HaShavuot, the day that after Hag HaShavuot, it's that day, it's called Isru. After every festival, we have Isru. That day of Isru called Yom Tavoah. The day after Shavuot, that day called Yom Tavoah. We have to understand, what is Yom Tavoah? Tavoah is the day of slaughtering. Why did I call it this way? Number one, other thing that's happening for 6 days in the diaspora, 7 days in Eretz Israel, after the festival of Shavuot, we don't say Tahanun, we don't eulogize. We have to understand what's happening here. So Be'ezrat Hashem, today we'll explain. We have to understand that those days that straight after Shavuot in the diaspora is 6 days, in Eretz Israel it's 7 days, they call Yemei Tashlumim, the day of accomplishment, the day that we can actually achieve something. What does it mean? In a time that Beit HaMikdash was exist, people used to bring sacrifice. We have a mitzvah to bring sacrifice to Beit HaMikdash and a 3 festival that they are Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot. Pesach, we have 7 days that call Chol HaMoed. Sukkot, we have 7 days that call Chol HaMoed, that we can bring those sacrifices. On Shavuot, we have 1 day. How you expect that all of those sacrifices to be sacrificed in 1 day? Hazal knew that it's not going to happen. Akadosh Baruch Hu says, therefore, and Hazal constitutes for us, that we have extra 7 days. Those 7 days that we have after Yom Shavuot, those the days that call Yemei Tashlumim. What is Yemei Tashlumim? Days that those that didn't have enough time to bring the sacrifice on Beit HaMikdash and Hag HaShavuot, on a festival of Shavuot, they can do it for the next 7 days in Beit HaMikdash. And that's what it's called Yemei Tashlumim. Okay? And that's days that they bring the sacrifice. What kind of sacrifice they used to bring? And we have to understand that those sacrifices they call Olot Re'iyah v'Shalmei Hagiga. What is Olot Re'iyah and what is Shalmei Hagiga? That's the question that we have to tackle. And we're going to explain Be'ezrat Hashem. So, Olot Re'iyah, it's the Korban Olah. Olah, it's a Korban that completely burnt an altar. Re'iyah is a Korban that you see. That means it's a Korban that you come to Beit HaMikdash to see. Beit HaMikdash, to see Pnei Hashem. Okay? That means that those Korbanot, they're more holy than normal Korbanot. And why is that? Because that Korban can be brought by the individual or by group, but that Korban completely burned on the altar. That means that not the Kohen and not the people that bring the Korban can benefit from it. That's Korban, it's called Olot Re'iyah, get burned completely. Okay? Then we have another Korban. It's called Shalmei Hagiga. That Korban is from the Thanksgiving Korban, what we call it. What does it mean? That Korban, we come and we bring in to say thank you to Akadosh Baruch Hu for all the abundance, the prosperity that we got from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. People want to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu that they have abundance of health, abundance of wealth, that everything working properly for him. You want to bring a thanksgiving to HaKadosh Baruch Hu Korban. And that's called Shalmei Hagiga. That means that Shalmei, it's Mishon Tashlum, that we paying thank you to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and a festival. Those Korban, they're different to Korbanot, the Korbanot that we mentioned earlier from Hutzat, from the group of Ola. What's the difference between them? The Korbanot Shlamim, Shalmei Hagiga, it's Shlamim, it's to say thank you. When you bring that Korban, that Korban, part of that Korban can be eaten by the Kohen and by the owner that brought the Korban. They can eat only two parts of the Korban. The part that they can eat is the chest and the thigh. So we see from here that there's two different Korbanot, and there's two different level of Korbanot. When the Korban Olah is the highest, that completely burnt on the altar. When Korban Shlamim, only part of it gets burned, of the Korban burnt on the altar, while the rest been shared between the Kohanim and the owner of the Korban. But what's the secret behind those days? What is the virtue of those days? Many people have to say, okay, we don't say Tahanum. Many people happy not to say Tahanum. Okay, but what is the secret behind it? Why we don't say Tahanum? We have to understand why did Hazal constitute to us that the days after Yom Hag HaShavuot, we don't say Tahanum. So I'm going to bring the opinion of the Tzemach Tzedek. I don't know how many of you know who's the Tzemach Tzedek. Tzemach Tzedek is the third Chabad Rebbe. His name is Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson. Okay, he born in Belarus 235 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. And he says in his book that he asked the Ultra Rebbe, Rabbi Shneur Zalman Miladi. He born in Belarus also 277 years ago. And he was the first Chabad Rebbe. He started the Rebbe. He wrote the Tanya. He been called, his name is Baal Tanya. I'm sure many of you heard that. He started the movement. Okay, in Hebrew we call him Admor Zaken, the Ultra Rebbe. Okay, by the way, just for general knowledge, when before the Ultra Rebbe born, his father of the Rabbi Shneur Zalman Miladi was a student of the Baal Shem Tov. And the Baal Shem Tov told the father, he said to him, you're going to have a great son, and I want you to hide him. What is mean?
Rabbi, you're mute.
Rav, you're on mute.
You're on mute, Rob.
Rolf, can you hear me?
Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yeah, we can
Yes.
hear you.
Okay. Sorry, something happened obviously with my internet. I don't know what's happened, but it's all okay now. Okay. I'm going to mute everyone. Okay. So the Ultra Rebbe, okay, his Sandak was the Baal Shem Tov. And he answered his grandson, the Tzemach Tzedek. And he said to him, the secret of those days that come straight after Shavuot, it's a great secret. What is it? Because in Shavuot, we receive the entire Torah in one day. If you look in any other festival, we have 7 days. Pesach, we have 7 days. Sukkot, we have 7 days. Rosh Hashanah, 2 days. Okay? Yom Kippur, obviously, we can't have more than 1 day to fast. Can you ask a Jew not to eat more than 1 day? Well, it's a problem. But to receive the Torah, the Holy Torah, with all the secrets, okay? All of that to be inspiration that we got with the Torah, it's too difficult to absorb it in 1 day. Say Rabbi Shneur Zalman Miladi like this. He said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu given us those days that after Shavuot, number one, to adjust and to understand the abundance of the spirituality that we receive and the physical abundance that we receive. Say Rabbi Shneur Zalman Miladi that we don't understand how much inspiration we got on Shavuot, each one according to whatever he prepared himself. He's a vessel. How much he prepared himself to receive. It's taken us 7 days to absorb that inspiration and to know how to deal with that. Say Rabbi Shneur Zalman Miladi that to capture all of that, we need 7 days to know how to deal with it. The mystical rabbi revealed to us that in every festival, whatever happened to us, appearing to us again. For example, if we take Pesach, the Jewish people left Egypt. It was the festival of Exodus. That Exodus that we was every year in Pesach, appearing again. Sukkot, the same. Purim, the miracle of Purim. Every Purim, that light, inspiration that happened many years back, appearing on that day. The same with Shavuot. In Shavuot, each one of us, Rabotai, received the Torah like he received it in Mount Sinai. But we have the Torah. Yes, Nahon, we have the Torah. But every year, the Torah that you know today is a different Torah that you knew last year. The Torah that we know this year is not the Torah that we know last year. And it's not the Torah that we know 10 years ago. Every year we're growing. Every year we get a different inspiration, different abundance of Hidushim, different abundance of way to understand the Torah, different way to look at the Torah. Say the Mefarshim like this, that every Yom Tov, that inspiration appearing. How much you're willing to put into it, how much you're willing to absorb, it's up to you. Say Rabbi Shneur Zalman Miladi, what we receive on Shavuot, that's great abundance, spirituality and physically, it will take us 7 days to understand how to look after it, how to handle it for the next year. Therefore, say Rabbi Shneur Zalman Miladi, HaKadosh Baruch Hu given us 7 days to think, to absorb, to understand how to handle that inspiration. And that's why we have 7 days. Say Rabbi Zalman Miladi. The Gaon, Rabbi Yosef Haim. Rabbi Yosef Haim, that's the famous Ben Ish Chai. He born around 189, 189 years ago in Baghdad in Iraq. And we all know him as the Ben Ish Chai. The book Ben Ish Chai I always mention, but I need to explain. The book Ben Ish Chai been split to two. It's a one book that he called it first year and second year. It's going according to the parshiyot of the Torah. And there he bring in halachot, he bring in a bit of Kabbalah, very light Kabbalah. Everyone can understand that. He bring all different idea because he was a great Kabbalistic, how to understand what's happening. In Parashat Bamidbar, on the first year, he bring in the idea, what is the virtue of the days after Shavuot. And he said like this. He said that every year or after every festival that we have what we call Isru. Isru is the day straight after the festival. He said the virtue of the Isru of Chag Shavuot is greater than all the other festivals. Why is that? He said that if you look, the inspiration of the Chag Shavuot is one day. The mystical Rabbi explained that it's one, a word Zahad, that on that day, HaKadosh Baruch Hu bring in the Torah in one day, and he given us 7 different days after that to observe it. Well, all the Hagim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu spread the inspiration over 7 days. Here we got it all in one day, and here we have to learn how to capture it, how to handle it for the next year. So say the Ben Ish Chai, that inspiration that we received on Chag Shavuot, when we received the Torah, spread over 7 days. That's right. Said the Ben Ish Chai, that's the secret of those days. And that's, Rabotai, why we don't say Tahanun on those 7 days, or in the diaspora 6 days, the days that come straight after Chag Shavuot. Many people think it just because it's the month. No, it's not like the month of Nisan that we don't say Tahanun at all. Here we're talking about the inspiration that we have to learn how to deal with that straight after Chag Shavuot. That's great inspiration, the spiritual inspiration that maybe we can't feel it now, but it's going to be with us for the next year until next Shavuot. Be'ezrat Hashem, the Mashiach come, and we don't need. We get the inspiration and we can feel it. Also, the abundance of the physicality that we're going to have, how to handle that. When I say the abundance of physicality, is not necessarily only parnasa. Yes, it is parnasa, but it's also health. It's also nachash that we're going to get from the kids, from the husband, from the wife, from the grandchildren. That's the physical abundance. The nachash that we have with our neighbor, the nachash that we're going to have with work, the nachash that we're going to have with friends, and etc. That's the physical abundance. Not only people think that the physicality just come only geld. Ken, it's geld. Geld come with that. But how much brocha you going to have on it? That's the abundance. How much brocha we going to have in all our physicality and a physical thing that we need. Some people get certain things, but they don't see any brocha. We have to understand that the inspiration, it's not only on a physicality, it is on a physicality, but it's how long and how much nachas we're going to have from it. Rabotai, before I end up the shi'ur, I have to say again, we have to understand that we lost 10 great heroes. There's no question, 11 great heroes. It's a heartbreaking. The heart cannot absorb that pain yet. The mind, we cannot understand what we lost. 10 great diamonds. But we have to understand that there is a leader to the world. The creator knows what he's doing. We have to believe that whatever Kadosh Baruch Hu doing, he's doing it for a reason. Hazal say in the Gemara, Kol de'avid rahmana letavavid. Whatever the Almighty do, it's only for good. And if HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to destroy Amalek from the roots, if it's going to take time, it's going to take time. The Amalek of today, we have to understand, said the Gaon Mivilna, those that start a war with Israel, you know that they're Amalek. So there's no question that Hamas is Amalek. There's no question that Iran is Amalek. There's no question, that Hezbollah is Amalek. The Houthis, all the enemy of the Jews. What do you think that Turkey sitting behind the fence nicely? The snake under the grass. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants our great soldier, those great heroes, those great holy, that doing a holy war, destroying all the infrastructure of terrorism against Jewish people. Without them, Rabotai, we wouldn't have the states of Israel. It's a holy war that they're fighting at the moment. The same like we need soldier in the front line, we need the soldier in the back. That's the Talmidei Chachamim. Midah keneged midah. Measure for measure. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Moshe Rabbeinu, Behar lecha anashim, choose for you men, okay? And tell Yeshua bin Nun, and Sela Milchama. Tell Yeshua bin Nun, he have to fight this war. That means, while Moshe Rabbeinu and the rest of the Jewish people was in the back, davening and studying Torah, was those holy that have to do the physical war. That means that we in the back, we have to support them. How are we going to give them the morale? By that we're studying Torah. By that we're keeping mitzvot. By that we're doing kindness. By that we're learning Torah, davening for them, saying She'orei Torah, saying Tehillim. And every moment, every spare moment that you have, say Tehillim. It doesn't make a difference which Tehillim. People say which Tehillim. Whatever psalm that you know, Mizmor Tehillim of Bahat, say it. Repeat it 100 times. What difference does it make? That's the shield that you're giving to those holy soldiers that fighting this holy war. Rabotai, we have to understand, the same like Yeshua bin Nun been sent to fight a war with Amalek, HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent those holy people to fight with Amalek. And at the moment that we have mahloket and we don't have unity among us, that's when the evil spirits come. That's when Malach HaMavet, the angel of death, have a permission to harm us. So as much that we daven, saying Tehillim, we're going to keep them away from our great heroes that fighting and doing a holy war in the south, in the north, those that belong to the Israeli Defense Force, those that work for the secret agent, the member of the police, whatever you want to call them. Every poem of Tehillim, it's another shield that we putting in the front of them, that no one can harm them. So if you say to yourself, I'm going to say today 10 poem of Tehillim. What is it to say 10 poem of Tehillim? 5 minutes a day. Who can say that he doesn't have 5 minutes a day spare? And you can repeat the same poem of Tehillim 100 times. 100 shield. You 100 shield. I'm 100 shield. Chaim Yanko 100 shield. Chaim Shmuel 100 shield. How much shield do we give in to those holy soldiers, to those holy fighters that fighting for what? That we have the states of Israel, that we have a Jewish state, that we can say that we're Jew and we're proud to be a Jew. So you have a spare moment. You can say Tehillim, say Tehillim. You can study for 10 minutes. Study for 10 minutes. You want to daven? Daven for them. You want to do kindness? Do kindness. Whatever you can do for the sake of the state of Israel, for the sake of those holy soldiers, to give them protection, to give them guardians, this is our job. This is our job, and that's I would like to end. That Be'ezrat Hashem, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will bring all of those inspiration that we receive in Chag HaShavuot, the physical part, the spiritual part, and will help us with those inspiration, not only to inspire ourselves, to inspire others. And in the merit of that, inspiration in Torah, that we can inspire other people.
Okay.
We can and we will win the war, because this
Okay.
war is a holy war, and we're going to win the war. We're already winning the war, and we mustn't let other media, social media, the world media, to try to tell us if we're right or wrong, why do we kill, why we're not killed. The Torah tells us, Haba le'orgecha, ashkem le'orgo. The Torah says that a person that comes to kill you, don't wait for him, kill him. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give our leaders in Eretz Israel the right to do the right decision, not to give up to all different pressure that we have from the states, United Nations, the greatest terrorist organization I think that there is in the world. But we have to understand that we have to daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that's the most important, that he will say enough to all our tzoros. We have enough tzoros. We suffered enough. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu will say enough and will have the mercy on us. Okay? And he can take the revenge in our enemies. And will send us Mashiach Tzidkenu speedily in our day, and we see the Mashiach in our days, our own eyes, and the building of Bet HaMikdash. Amen. Ken Yehi Ratzon. Rabotai, I hope that you enjoyed the show. Now, those of you that want to ask question about the virtue of the day after Shavuot, or to speak about those few words of encouragement that are given, you can unmute the microphone. Bechavod.
Rabbi?
Hello, Tim. How are you?
Erev Tov, Antonio. Erev Tov, Erev Tov. Ken, Bechavod, Antonio.
There'll be war for 12 months. Where do you get that from? Where is it quoted that it will be for 12 months? You mentioned
The
something
Zohar,
about
the Zohar HaKadosh, the Zohar HaKadosh in Sefer Bereshit. I think Parashat, I don't remember the Parsha. Parashat Vayishlach? No, it's not in Parashat Vayishlach. I think Parashat Toldot, okay? Parashat Toldot? No. It's not in Parashat Toldot. I think it's Parashat Vayetze, okay? If I'm not mistaken, the Zohar HaKadosh in Parashat Vayetze, don't quote me on the Parsha. There it says, עתידים בני ישמעאל לעשות מהומות גדולות בעולם 12 חודש. That means that the children of Ishmael is our cousin. They're going to cause a great havoc in the world, and we see the havoc that they're causing. You follow, Antonio? Okay. Any other question?
Rabbi?
Frank? Erev Tov, Frank. How are you?
Right, Baruch Hashem, good. I've got one or two questions. We kept cutting in and out, so I don't know if I heard what you said or not. The first thing is, why is Shavuot? Why don't we do Tachanon for another, I think, week or afterwards? No, after Shavuot.
So I explained that on the Pshat of the Dvarim is that we got 7 days that in time that Bet HaMikdash was exist, that they used to bring Korban. And when a person bring Korban, it's a Yom Tov for him. And if it's a Yom Tov, they don't say Tahanun. Therefore, for those people that didn't have a chance to bring all the Korbanot in one day, they've been given 7 days to come to Bet HaMikdash to bring the Korban. And if that's a day that we bring in the sacrifice, it's like a Yom Tov. Therefore, we don't say Tahanun. You follow?
Okay. Yes.
The
Second thing, the second question was due to your first part. there were three questions I want to ask you. First of all, when you gave us the statistics of the ratio, but if you count how many prisoners we caught, it even makes it better. Do you know how many prisoners we've got in prison there?
We
I'm not
got
talking about
over
the people that shot.
thousand,
I
and
don't
that's
know.
where
I
we
don't
get
know.
all the information. Over
Yes.
10 of thousand
Uh,
sitting in Eretz Israel now behind
Yeah.
in a jail that
Yes.
giving us sometimes the right information. There's a
Mm.
special unit that's called 504. It's
Mhm.
504. It's part of the intelligence. It's a special unit. I was part of the intelligence, so I can explain to you.
Yeah.
Those units, their job, they have a special way, special method to interrogate, to get all the right information that we need.
Mhm.
With the statistic that it shows that they all say that they're all going to go back to terrorism, believe it or
Yes.
not.
Yes.
Although that they ask if they regret, most of them say that they don't regret what they done. They ask them, is it human? They say no. They agree that it's not human to rape, to burn little kids, to rape women, to kill innocent people, but they will do it again. So you see that the method of the interrogation prove
Mhm.
that those terrorists need to be hanged, need to be killed.
Yes. Yes.
That's Amalek.
So yeah. So you can't release them back or do anything. So you said, well, another question is of C. You know, the Irish people are very pro Palestinian, very, very about it. They'll say they will take in all the Palestinians. But I saw that there is a backlash because a lot of the Irish people are saying we don't want the Palestinians, we don't want them to come here. And then also, a lot of the countries in Britain, for example, where it's very bad with the Muslims, they had a whole big demonstrations. Or they said we don't want them, that we don't want them to take over our country anymore. We want our country back. So there's a lot of pro things going on the other side.
Baruch Hashem, and that's what Dr. Les mentioned earlier. But we have to understand that what's happening in the world at the moment, HaKadosh Baruch Hu show the other side of those terrorists. What's hiding behind terrorism? You have to understand, HaKadosh Baruch Hu say that he regrets that he created Ishmael. These three things that HaKadosh Baruch Hu regret that he created. What is meaning regret? He have to do it. One of them is Ishmael. Ishmael, the Gemara say, Shmo Na'eh. His name is a very beautiful name. Ishmael. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will listen. The Almighty will listen. Say Hazal, in that case, why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu regret? He said because that you have to bring such a savages to the world that to cause us to listen to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Before the 7th of October, and listen to me carefully, before the 7th of October, how divided the Jewish people was, beyond understanding. Today,
Yes.
Baruch Hashem, we much more united. Why? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent Ishmael to unite us. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted the world to see who's the real Ishmael. What is Ishmael? Vehu Pere Adam. What it means, Pere Adam? It's called him Pere. He doesn't say first Adam. He's wild. First is wild. Why Dafka wild? The Mefarshim explain that that's a nation without a nation. Palestinian. The word Palestinian, where does it come from? The British say that they call it Palestina. You know, my late mom, born in Palestina, in a birth certificate, it said Palestina. In 1948, my grandfather been murdered by the Jordanian. Okay, but they didn't call it Palestina. Why? Because the British called that area of Palestine. Sorry, they did call it Palestina. Why they call it Palestina? Because the British given that day. But if you look many years before,
Romans.
already the name Plishtim come. Where? On a time of Shmuel. In a time of Bnei Israel crossing, coming out of Egypt. והקדוש ברוך הוא didn't want to take him דרך ארץ פלישתים, שמא יחרד עם. Where's Plishtim? Where's the land of Plishtim? In Gaza.
Really?
So Palestine is not in Jerusalem, what they talking. In their Bible that they call it the Quran, Jerusalem not mentioned one. Not once. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu want to expose all the lies, want to expose all that savage behavior. You want to expose it not only to us, to the entire world. And the world start to understand that that is a disease like a cancer that spread very quick and take over. That's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu doing it. But in the meantime, in Eretz Israel, we have to do our job. What do we have to do? To destroy all the infrastructure that try to cause that disease to grow. And Baruch Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu given strength and given seichel and good moral to our soldier to do it beautifully. You follow, Frank?
Yes.
I hope that
Thank
that
you,
answered
Rabbi.
the question.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Good. Any other question? Rabotai, those of you that want to ask question, bechavod? Ken, bechavod?
Rob, good evening.
Erev Tov, Erev
Erev
Tov.
Tov, everybody.
How are you, Jeffrey? Ken, bechavod, Jeffrey.
You know, Rob, what I've got out of this tonight, we're in a holy war. This is virtually our final holy war. Why? Because what was the beginning of the holy war? The holy war was at Sinai, was at the time of Shavuot, that we were fighting a belief system that came out of Egypt. We were fighting the idol worship, the immorality, the hate idol. We were fighting. We had to fight that system. How did we fight it? By receiving the Torah from Hashem. By understanding what we've got to do and how we're going to do it. And you just said tonight, this is a replica. We have to learn, we've got to get the Torah and we've got to learn it and we've got to understand it and we've got to, that's our banner. That's our signia. That is the strength. You see, the civilizations of Egypt is no different to the civilization of the West and the United States. No different. It's idol worship, it's worship of money, it's worship of status, worship of people, worship of anything else except God. This is our war. This is the war. And those people in the States or any European or any other country must understand that those who are believers have got to stand up as well and fight. They've got to be with us. They cannot let us take this all on our shoulders. Yes, we're the banner, we're the insignia, and we're the warriors of Hashem. But those who understand, and there are many, There are many that who believe in God, that believe in Hashem. They must stand up as well. And unfortunately, I believe, in my opinion, is that we are seeing a resurrection of the people who were the Erev Rav. It is like there was a seed still left, and it still permeates through the, maybe through the world, maybe through the negative energies, maybe through this, maybe through, but they've been brought up again, and they've been lifted. And this is because of the societies we're in. That's how, and it's got to be, the societies have got to be destroyed, the idol worship thinking. Here we are, we've received the Torah, and we are now armed again. It's a new arming, we're armed. We're armed, and you've said it tonight. We've all got to learn a bit more Torah. Take one mitzvah to make a bracha with more kavana, with more feeling, with more understanding. That one little bit can shift and change the balance of power. Here we are with our beautiful soldiers standing out there up front, and we have got to be with them, shoulder to shoulder. And this is what you've told us tonight, and you brought it very clearly. It's a war for all of us. We're all in it together. We're going to fight the demons. We're going to fight this anti-Semitism. We're going to fight the Erev Rav. We're going to fight this terrible culture which is resurfacing from 3,000 years, 2,000 years, 1,000 years, 1939, 1940. It all resurged and it's come back. This is the final fight. This is the Sinai, where we've received our Torah again, and we've got to use this inspiration to stand up and face it and fight it by learning and by having unity. And this is what we've got to do. We've got to instill a feeling of unity with all our brethren, all of them. Hashem is doing it in his way. But Hashem needs us in this world physically to do it. Spiritually, Hashem will do it all for us. He'll back us, but we've got to take the step. We've got to face it. We've got to look at them in the eye and say, no more, it's enough. We are going to continue to exist. Hashem is going to continue to exist in this world. That's part of our partnership with Hashem. Hashem handles, that's why we repair. We're here to repair the world. Our souls are to repair the world. What? Repair what? Repair what's going on. That's part of what we've got to do. That's our mission. Anyway, you've really brought a lot out tonight. But this question, the situation where we've got to pull together, learn hard, and we'll see miracles. Oh, certainly in these 7 days, which are after Shavuot, where we're trying to decipher the new Torah. We're trying to decipher how to do it. Yes, we've been giving it, but as you said, we've still got to learn. We've still got to understand, how does it just today, how do we handle it? How do we have, we've got to be given the inspiration, now we've got the 7 days to put it into action. Anyway,
that's it.
Thank you.
How to handle it and how to deal with it.
And to deal with it.
That's how, that's the thing here. You know, I spoke last night with my little boys in the army. And I want to tell you something very interesting, that his friends that is in a special combat unit got injured. He sent me the picture. He was injured in Gaza from that explosive that's happened to that armored vehicle, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
He sent me his picture in the hospital. He's full of ricochet. And he spoke to him, and I see that, they was talking on WhatsApp, and he said to him, no, I'm feeling 100%. I wanted to go back, but the hospital told me that I need to stay here to have an operation to take all the ricochet from my body. Look at the morale that the Jewish people have. Look at that morale. They just they know that it's a holy war. You know, I told you, my son is in the Air Force. He's working around the clock because he worked on the F-15 and the F-16, the bombers that really doing all the damage in the south and in the north. The army giving them 3 weeks because they work around the clock. They call it ulpan. They send them back to learn, but it's a place that it's more like it's called the house of the soldier, Beta Hayal. They're giving them a time to recharge the battery. Because the Israeli army realized that each one of those soldiers, it's not just to work, they need to recharge their batteries. And he told me that today when I spoke to him, how did you arrive safely? It's still in the south because he served in the south. He said to me that you must see soldiers from all over, all different units, coming to get a bit of a break from that stress. And he said, each one of us say we're ready to go back. So the morale is in the highest level because they know that they're fighting for a reason. They're fighting a holy war. We know that Avraham Avinu given us that foundation. Yitzhak Avinu given us that foundation. Yaakov Avinu given us that foundation. Yitzhak Avinu was willing to be sacrificed. He put his throat to be slaughtered.
Yeah.
Yaakov Avinu given us the emunah. Avraham Avinu implanted us that no matter what, we have to do what we have to do. And when you speak to your kids, when I speak to nephews in Israel, that they're also in the south, some of them in the north, when I speak to them and I see the moral, it just shows us that it's not just war. We're fighting a fundamental religious war. They call it the war of Allah. Allah in Arabic means God.
Yeah.
But which God are you fighting? Where is God said to fight? The name of God is Shalom.
Yeah.
Gemara, Masechet Shabbat, Yud Amud Bet. We always say Shalom Aleichem, Shabbat Shalom, everything with Shalom. Where is it said that God said to fight? There's no such thing. They're coming in the name of God. They call it the war of God. But the evilness in a costume. And that's what I think that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm not a prophet, I'm not a son of a prophet. That's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu planning, to explode and to show everyone the false of those religions.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Rabotai, first of all, I would like to thank all of you. Thank you very much for joining tonight. I hope that you enjoy the political part of it, that I usually never speak political, but I felt like we need encouragement after people ask so many questions. Why has it happened? Why 10, 11 soldiers die in one day? We don't know why, but we know one thing, that with all of those casualties, that it's a lot of people to die. HaKadosh Baruch Hu still show us miracle. He show us his mercy and compassion, and he show us his salvation to us. So Be'ezrat Hashem, that he sent Mashiach speedily in our days, and he will take the revenge, and he continued to finish that war. And when HaKadosh Baruch Hu take war, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu take revenge, this is a real revenge. And we should see Be'ezrat Hashem, Mashiach Tzidkenu, speedily in our days, and he will build Bet HaMikdash in our time. Amen. Ken Yiratzon. Thank you very much for
Oh,
joining the
mate.
show. I hope
Okay,
that you
Isru.
enjoyed the show, Rabotai. Thank you very much. Have a good night
Beautiful.
and a beautiful week ahead. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.